Today I'm checking out this camping mat. It's a really cool air up camping mat. Now I was sent this at no cost so I can do this review. Let's get this thing out of the plastic, out of its bag, so we can check it out. So this is the camping mat out of the bag. It's going to come with this little manual that's in a bunch of different languages that basically tells you how to inflate it and deflate it. It does come with this nice little carrying bag here that helps you fit this back into this nice little small package. And then of course it comes with the camping mat itself. Now there's a lot of things about this camping mat that make it different. One is the material that it's made of isn't just like your standard feeling plastic. I mean, this kind of has like a nylon shorts kind of feel. I don't exactly know how to explain this, but it has a nice softer feel to it. And also even the bag, it feels like a parachute type of material that's like a wicking material. So definitely something that was going to work, you know, outdoors. This also has an integrated air pump, so that makes it even cooler in that perspective, but I can't show you all of that in this little area. I'm going to go ahead actually and put this in our SUV where we would normally use something like this. We do camp sometimes, but we don't tent camp. We'll camp inside of the SUV and kind of make that our tent. And these are the kind of mats that we would use to make it more comfortable to do that. So I'm going to go put this in the car and show you how this thing airs up and deflates and how you can fit it all back into this little bag. All right, so I've got this now in the back of our SUV. I'm going to go ahead and get it inflated and let you check that out. I do want to point out too that it does actually come with these little patch tabs. So let's get this thing folded out and see what it looks like in the SUV. So I've got this sleeping mat laid out now, and I want to show you something that none of my other air mattresses or mats have, and that is a manual pump built into this mat. So all you got to do is at the top up there where, like, yes, you would call that the pillow section, is you have a valve on each side. I have one laid kind of out right here so you can see it. You make sure that's fully plugged. I'm going to push all of that in, make sure it's fully closed. On this one, since it's a bigger mat, there's one on each side. You plug those up completely, and then you use this section here without the cap on it, the sponge, to work as a pump. And by doing that, either with your foot or with your hand, you push in with your hand covering that hole, and then you can let off and it refills the air. And what that's doing is it's forcing air into the air mattress, and then when the sponge comes back, it's pulling the air in here. So pushed air in, now it's sucked air back in the pump. Pushed air in, sucked back in the pump. So this is pretty cool. And if you can see, it is actually airing up the air mattress. So you could do this by hand like I'm doing, or you could do this with your foot. Would work the same concept. Actually, your foot would probably cover this better, and it's probably what is recommended. But I don't have my foot up here in the SUV. I do have my hand. So I'm going to go ahead and pump this thing up by hand to see how long it takes to get this thing pumped up. And then we'll see what it looks like all aired up in the SUV. Now, of course, you don't have to use the manual pump if you have an electric pump. This is just here for, you know, when you're on that camping trip and you don't want to carry a whole bunch of stuff with you. It's got this built in. And then, of course, when you roll it up and squish it down, you can, you know, this is just a sponge. You can push this thing in nice and tight and roll this thing up, fit it right back into that bag. So let's get it aired up. So I stopped in the middle of airing this up just to kind of show you what about 100-ish pumps on this pump would give you. I did do about 100 pumps by hand. Now, if you did that by your foot, it'd be a lot less work than it was for me by hand. But even by hand, it really wasn't that much work. But I'm surprised on how much it actually did air it up with just basically that sponge pump. I would say this thing's probably 35% aired up. Anyways, I'm going to continue airing this up so we can see it fully inflated. There it is. And I got to tell you, really not as bad as I expected. I did not cheat and use an electric pump to air this up. I did this entire mattress aired up by hand using this manual pump that's built in. You can see I've got this open. It's not leaking. There's a valve inside of here that pushes the air into this. And look at this. I mean, this is aired up nice and tight, just like you would do with an electric one, and you're able to do it with the manual one. It's not like after a while it just won't air it up anymore. I could still air it up even more, but it's pretty tight. Aired it up great. I mean, honestly, way better than I thought just a manual pump would do. And then when you're done, there's two valves up here on the top that you pull to let the air out. What I'm going to do here, though, is one other problem that I have with air mattresses is they leak out over time. We don't need to go anywhere for a while. I'm going to leave this in the back of the SUV for a few days and just see if it stays this nice and tight. It is opened up now, and let's see. It looks pretty good. Man, the thing is still nice and tight. So it doesn't look like it leaks air, so that's good. It does have a pillow section up there, so I don't know if I showed that before, but that section up there is kind of like a pillow, like a headrest area. So it's elevated a little bit. Even when you put your pillows there, it kind of gives you a little bit more up there and a little bit more support, I guess you could say. And it has different kind of ripples. It's not the straight up and down lines you would normally see. It's got like these little connectors, almost like they're simulated like spring sections or something. I don't know. I really do like the way this is laid out. And I like the fact that it has the built-in pump, just in case, you know, again, you don't have an electric pump or something and you don't have any other way to do it. That actually was very easy to air up. A very innovative idea. All right, so I'm not going to keep blabbing about this. This is actually pretty cool, and I could probably talk about it all day. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull the plugs, and I'm going to try to just roll this up, let the air out and everything, and I'm going to try to fit it back into this bag, because that is one of the other features of this, is it's supposed to be very lightweight and thin. It rolls up and stores easy, so it's not just one more big thing that takes up, you know, your truck or your car or your backpack or whatever it is. This should go down into a nice small size. And I'm going to try it now. Man, this thing is really firm. So to let the air out, you just pull this plug. There's one of these on each side up here on the top. Pull that plug out, which will let the air get released. And then I'm going to roll it up from the bottom down there up to the top. So what I normally would do, especially on any kind of air mattress, but this one's even more special, is I would normally pull the plugs and then I'd fold it in half, put a little bit of weight on it, you know, like basically folding it in half, and then I would let it sit for just a little bit to kind of let the air naturally go out. On this one, it's got this pump, so if you just put the plug back in the pump here, then this sponge that is the actual air pump, the air can go out, but it cannot come back in because of the valve. So what you do is you just push it flat to get all the air out like you were pumping it. You leave this plug in it and it stays completely compact like this. So now this is already squished down, like vacuum sealed, and then the bed just naturally by itself is already starting to drain out all the air. As you can see, the plug's pulled over there, and then the one on the other side is also. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly start wrapping it and rolling it from this side and go that way, which pushes the air out toward the valves. And the fact that the valves are at the very end of this mattress, it just lets you push all that air in that direction out. And wow, I honestly think I sold myself on this thing. We're probably going to be buying a few more of these. This thing works great. I mean, it went back together and still has room in the bag to put more stuff. I mean, it fit in there with no problem. I did my standard roll that I would do with anything that's aired up like this, and just the air went straight out. Didn't give me any problems. This is definitely a really good SUV mat type air mattress. Something great for people coming over, guest rooms, you know, living rooms, anywhere you need to put some kind of cushioned mat. All right, well, I hope this information was helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Y'all take care.